You know, for true ramen lovers, some restaurants are more than just a place to eat. They're a pilgrimage. Today, we're diving into one of those legendary spots, Hakata Daruma, a name that's practically whispered with reverence on the streets of Fukuoka, Japan.
So let's start with their core philosophy, which is this: smelly equals delicious. Now, I know what you're thinking, that sounds weird. But for people who really know their tonkotsu, that powerful, authentic pork bone smell isn't just an aroma. It's the absolute promise of an incredible, deep flavor to come.
So that really is the big question, right? How does a simple bowl of noodles and soup become a legend that's been around for 60 years, with people lining up down the street just to get a taste? Well, let's find out, starting with what's actually in the bowl.
We're gonna start with that first mind-blowing taste. Because to really get the legend of Daruma, you have to understand the ramen itself. And it all begins with the soup.
See that foam on top? In a lot of other cooking, you'd skim that right off. But here, it's the whole point. It's visual proof that this broth has been simmered for so long that the pork fat and collagen have totally emulsified into this rich, creamy liquid. The source material calls it a literal lump of umami, and that's exactly what it is. So, with a soup that rich, what kind of noodle can possibly stand up to it? Well, not just any kind. Hakata Daruma uses these super fine straight noodles, and the design is just pure genius. They act like a little paintbrush, picking up the perfect amount of that thick, powerful broth with every single bite. The texture is just wow.
But hold on, the experience isn't over. First, you have a few bites to savor that pure, unadulterated tonkotsu flavor. Then comes the ritual. They give you a garlic press and fresh cloves, and you crush the garlic right into your bowl. That sharp, pungent kick just cuts through the richness and completely transforms the flavor. This, as the regulars will tell you, is when the ramen finally reaches its complete form.
So we've tasted the masterpiece. Now let's zoom out a little and dig into the history behind it all. This is how a simple bowl of ramen becomes a 60-year-old legend. The story kicks off all the way back in 1963. So for over 6 decades, this shop has been honing its craft. Today, it's run by the second-generation master, Kawahara Hideto, who's not only preserving that original, uncompromising flavor, but is also expanding, like with their brand new 5-gosen branch. So what is their secret? It's a technique called Yobimodoshi. And get this, just try to wrap your head around it. They have a master pot of soup that has never been emptied since 1963. Every single day, they just add fresh water, new pork bones, and more soup to the original stock. This creates layers upon layers of flavor, a kind of depth and complexity you just can't fake. And the original main branch, the Sohanten, oh, it's not just a restaurant, it's a landmark. The walls are literally a tapestry of signatures from famous musicians, actors, athletes, you name it. And the air inside is thick with that legendary tonkotsu aroma. The atmosphere is just electric. But this legend isn't just resting on its laurels. The company recently made a really bold move, opening a new branch in what can only be described as a high-stakes restaurant battleground. Their new location is on a stretch of road that's so competitive, it's known as a graveyard for restaurants. Seriously, it's a place where even huge, famous chains have opened their doors only to close them down a little while later. If you can make it here, you are the real deal. And just look at the neighbors they're up against. We're talking absolute giants. McDonald's, Starbucks, other legendary ramen chains like Ichiran and Tenkai Ippon, the list just goes on and on. Hakata Daruma didn't just open a new store. They planted their flag right in the middle of the most competitive food territory you could imagine. So why on earth would they take such a huge risk? Well, it was for the fans. For years, if you wanted your Daruma fix, you had to travel into the busy city center and wait in those crazy long lines. This quote from our source vlogger just says it all. "I'm so happy I can finally eat this without having to travel all the way to the city center." All right, so we've covered the taste, the incredible history, and the high-stakes business move. But in the end, only one thing truly matters. Is the ramen still just unbelievably good? It's time to zoom back in for the final verdict. 6. What is this number? It's not the price, it's not the number of ingredients. This is the total number of kayadama, or noodle refills, that one family ordered in a single visit. Let's just break this down. 2 refills for the eldest son, 2 for the second son, 1 for the daughter, and even dad got 1. I mean, come on, when kids are enthusiastically ordering more and more noodles, you know you've got something special. This little scoreboard right here is probably the most honest review you could ever ask for.
And here's one last little detail, a secret for the purists. When you get to the bottom of your bowl, you might notice these tiny, sand-like particles. That is not a mistake. That's not grit. That is bone marrow, the final, undeniable proof that you have just experienced a true, authentic tonkotsu broth that has been simmered down to its absolute essence. And really, what more can you say? Our source summed up that deep, satisfying feeling with this hilarious and absolutely perfect quote. Even the burps are delicious. It's a testament to a flavor that is so good, so profound, you want to savor every last bit of it.
And that just leaves us with a final thought. Hakata Daruma is so much more than just ramen. It's the flavor of Fukuoka in a bowl. And it makes you wonder, what's that one iconic dish from your town? The one you tell any visitor they absolutely, positively have to try. Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.